Hi, this is Meredith Muller, and I am here to give a demo of the 1L supplemental study materials that are available through Essential Elements. Of course, we have the How to Excel in Law School Orientation course, and we also have the 1L supplemental study and review courses. And that's kind of where I want to start. The idea is to get students into this course early as they're studying torts, contracts, and criminal law in their first year of law school. That way they can be sure that they can study and review, practice writing essays, practice quizzes, see how the issues fit together as they're learning this material, and hopefully even memorize rule statements as they go along. And then after they finish that 1L supplemental study and review course, then they can move into a FYLSC review course if they have to take the FYLSC. They can also begin with How to Excel in Law School, which is a complete orientation course, but we'll talk about that after I finish with the 1L supplemental study and review. So this is our dashboard. We go over here and we click on our course, and we use the Canvas platform. We could put it on your platform if you'd like, but I found that this works pretty well. We can also enroll teachers and students, so if a teaching assistant or a professor wanted to see the progress of their students, how much they've done, or they wanted a student to turn in an assignment, they could also do that. However, this is made to be an asynchronous, self-paced course. So in other words, as the students work, maybe they get through contracts formation. And after they're finished with formation, they should come to this course, and then they should review contracts formation, practice writing the essays, memorize the rule statements, all the good stuff that goes along with study. So it basically just organizes their study, sets their focus for them as they move through those courses. So what you're seeing now is the modules page. Okay, this is a professor view from when I created it. And I can show you the different areas we have. We've got course information here. We've got contracts, starts with the first class. And then we move on through torts and then criminal law. So all three subjects are included in this one course, and the student can come to this course anytime they want to review any of these subjects. So let's go ahead and look at it from the student view. Okay, so this is what the student is going to see. We'll, of course, customize the home page so that they can see what it looks like when they first enter, and we'll give them some directions how to use the course, all of that good stuff, and then it will bring them over to their module page. So once they're on their module page, they can click on the first page, and it welcomes them. This will probably be the home page. We're going to set it as the front page once we finalize the course. So you can see how it says start here in modules. So they get a nice welcome. They learn how to navigate through, and they can either go back to the modules page, which looks just like what I showed you a minute ago when you can see everything there all at one time, or they can just click start here. So if they click start here, they can go to the overview page, and it tells what the course is designed to do. It's designed to supplement the study of 1L contracts, torts, and criminal law. Okay? Each course is covered separately and is organized by units. Each unit is designed to review a major course topic and includes substantive course flowcharts, issue checklists, video review lectures, practice essay exams, sample answers, and multiple choice questions. And as I mentioned, it's asynchronous and self-paced. Okay, so and we also tell the students they don't need to turn in their writing assignments, but they need to self-assess and give them some best practices to do that. From there, they click next, and it takes them to their course syllabus, and it lets them know what the entire course is going to look like here. Here we've got our learning objectives. Okay, we want to develop their multiple choice and essay taking skills, I think is primarily what we want to do, and fully prepare them for exam testing and contracts, torts, and criminal law. But they'll be able to connect concepts, understand and memorize rules, and of course being able to apply those rules and write some solid bar essays under time conditions. The Essential Elements book is required for this course. So since it is copyrighted, I can't put it in the course directly. And I also like the paperback version because there's a lot of flipping back and forth between questions and sample answers. So an electronic version is available, but the hard copies tends to be better for most students. I also recommend, here I've recommended Crunch Time by Manuals. I know that some schools have Barbary. I like Barbary. I like Crunch Time. So whatever the black letter law outline of choice is for the student, or whatever the school offers, is going to be supplemental to this. As Essential Elements is not a black letter law outline. Rather, it's just connects the topics and helps them practice what they've learned, more like a workbook than it is an outline. So an outline and a workbook work really well together with a horn book and a case book. So here we've got our course schedule, and it's pretty much the same through every unit. Every unit, except for maybe the first unit with contracts as we first dive in, is going to be is going to consist of a reading assignment, recorded lectures, practice essays, and a multiple choice quiz. Okay, so we started here with just the reading assignment and recorded lectures because we want to talk about essay writing strategies and practice, and of course IRAC, before we ask them to write their first essays. So here you see our essays are signed. Okay, and then we want to teach them how to take a quiz before we actually assign them a quiz. So that's why we have 3 modules in this Unit 1 for contracts. From there, each unit just contains a reading assignment, recorded lectures, practice essays, and a quiz. And you'll see that all the way through. Reading assignment, recorded lecture, practice essay, quiz, and so forth and so on through all of the courses here. Okay, so the student can now click Next. And the first thing that they see is the importance of creating study and review materials. I don't want them to go through this course and just forget the whole thing. So we teach them how to make outlines, flowcharts, flashcards, how to use commercial outlines, how to use my flowcharts, all of that good stuff here. Then we have a reading assignment. So every single module starts with a reading assignment. The reading assignment is going to take them through the flowcharts in the Essential Elements book to show them how those fit together. So let me take just a second here and I'll show you what those look like. So with this first reading assignment, it's contracts overview and formation. So we open our Essential Elements book, and this is my electronic version. But basically it just walks students through to show how the topics fit together. Okay, we, of course, for contracts, we need formation, performance, and remedies. And I won't teach this to you, as I'm sure that you probably already know all this good stuff. But we walk through each of the elements, hence the name Essential Elements, that students are going to need to learn about in order to understand how to form a contract. So mutual assent, consideration, just defenses to formation, and then we take each one of these and we just unpack them element by element to talk about, what we need to know. So that's how the flow charts work, and you'll see that that is true of all of the subjects. So when we go back to the reading assignment, we see that we've also assigned corresponding topics in the commercial outline of your choice. And again, we recommend Barbary and Crunch Time, but it can be whatever the student chooses works best for them. And of course, memorizing contract formation. We have all of these fun flashcards, that are available to the students. This one happens to be, I think, about 150, and it is made so that the student can print it out double-sided and test themselves. My hope is to be able to put it into the platform itself, the learning platform itself, so that it becomes a digital flashcard, so that the student can just click and shuffle as they need and test themselves that way. But for right now, the flashcards are available so that the students can print them out double-sided and then use them to test. So here's some topics here. So on the front you can see the rule that we need to define, and then on the back you can see that the rule that is actually defined. So once the student has completed the reading assignment, they go ahead and they click Next, and they'll find that they have recorded lectures. These are summaries of each of the major topics. Okay, so for example, we've got one for mutual assent here. We have mailbox rule. We have the UCC 2207 Battle of the Forms, option contracts, merchant's firm offer, defenses to formation, and contracts modification. So just so you can get an example of what this looks like, we'll go ahead and click on
Hi,
option contracts.
I'm Meredith Muller, and today we're going to be talking about option contracts and merchant's firm offers. First thing you need to know is the general rule. Okay? The general rule here that I want you to take to heart is that offers can be revoked at any time before acceptance. That's the general rule. Now, there are exceptions, and we're going to talk about promises to keep the offer open. So a promise to keep the offer.
Okay, so that is me talking about option contracts and merchant firm offers. We do the same for UCC 2207, but generally the first lecture actually walks the student through those flowcharts and explains it, just in case they didn't get it the first time around.
This is our first lecture on contract.
So let's see if I can
cut into 3 separate areas: formation, performance, and remedies. Formation, performance, and remedies. So the first thing we do is we see if we have our contract that is properly formed. If we have a properly formed contract with no defenses, we look to see if it's whether it's been properly performed. And if it hasn't been properly performed, or performance has not been excused for some reason, then we need to see what kind of contract remedies are available.
So basically, the first lecture goes through the flowcharts, and then the other lectures might pull out some more difficult topics. So, for example, UCC 2207 happens to be a pretty difficult topic for most students. So we have some special lectures on that. Once they finish all those lovely lectures, they click Next, and now they have for the contracts modules, they get to learn about IRAC. Okay, so in the book we have a little thing about IRAC that's written, so they can go there and read all about organizational templates in IRAC. And then I have a very elementary way of teaching IRAC. It basically walks the students through a duck analogy. Never forget IRAC after learning about the duck. So after that recorded lecture, then they get into the practice. So in the practice essays, we give them the essays that deal with formation and tell them which ones to write and how to write it. Now this is where it gets interesting. So in the Essential Elements book, we have both the questions and the sample answers and some professor guidance. So the students are very much able to go in and self-assess, and they're encouraged to try to write the essay on their own first, and then go look at the sample answer. If theirs doesn't live up to the sample answer, then perhaps write it again. And if they still have trouble, they might be encouraged to contact their professor. If professors want, we can set this up so that the students can actually submit the essays to a professor or a teaching assistant. So that's completely up to you if you want to take away some of the asynchronous nature of these practice essays. But let me show you what they look like. So here's one of the practice essays in Torts that the students are assigned. So Torts Essay 10, Andy versus Doctor, on page 159. So as you can see, this page is nothing but the question, and it's on page 159. This is where I think having the hard copy of the book comes in handy, because at this point they're going to have to turn to page 193 to get to the answer. So it keeps them from, I hate to say cheating, but it keeps them from having the desire to flip and see what the answer is before they write, hopefully. But after all of the questions, all of the sample answers are given. So you can see here that we give a sample answer, we organize it in IRAC format, we completely discuss each issue, we argue both sides, we do everything that we're taught to do in law school on a well-written essay. The interesting part, I think, is the professor's guidance. Okay, so why was this essay included? Why did I give this one to you? Well, I want you to make sure that you recognized certain issues. This particular one, hopefully the negligence essays are starting to come pretty easily. Okay, organizing the issues, writing the applicable rules, all of that kind of good stuff. So that's basically the professor guidance. So with criminal law essays, same thing. We have State versus Deb here, and we do all of the questions. And then after we do all of the questions, we have, I'm sorry to make you dizzy, after we have all the questions, we have all of the answers, sample answers as well. So tells the students to come and compare. So we see how that they're organized. And then again, we have the professor's guidance. Okay, how do you organize a murder essay, for example? So talking about separating defendants, talking about discussing homicide first, talking about discussing malice second, talking about degrees, all of that good stuff. So telling students how they analyze it. So they should, if they're doing it correctly and taking their time, taking this professor guidance and then going back to the sample answer and looking at how it follows that guidance, and then looking at their own answers and seeing if they've actually live up to those expectations. And then luckily they'll have another murder essay to practice on, so maybe they'll do better the next time. So now that we've finished the writing assignment, first writing assignment, I actually give a sample essay here. I walk through a very simple statute of frauds flat fact pattern to show them, kind of how I use IRAC within the essay context, so that they can watch that before they start their first essay. I also include a rubric here for them, and I show them how they're going to be graded, okay, on substance, the analysis, the organization, and the communication, and how important that is for them to be able to spot the issues, to analyze them correctly, to organize it using IRAC, using headers, all of that good stuff, and to write clearly and effectively, so that they know what we're looking for when we're grading their essays. So we click on Next again. And this takes us into the multiple choice testing strategy and practice. Again, in the book, I have some tips and tricks and all that good stuff that they'll enjoy reading through, and I follow that with the recorded lecture on strategies for multiple choice testing. And then after that, there's a quiz. So again, remember when I said that every single unit has a reading assignment, a video lecture, practice essays, and a quiz. So this is where we would take the quiz. And I'm still putting most of the questions into the quiz banks, but you can get an idea of how they look here. Okay, so that you can see that our correct answer here would have been this. So it tells us why the answer is incorrect if we got it incorrect. Again, tells us why it's incorrect. And then if we go back and we try again, which they are allowed to do, I have not set it up so that they have more than one attempt. But I will, and they will see that the correct answer is followed by an explanation that tells why the correct answer is correct and why the incorrect answers are incorrect. Okay, so after the quiz, then with the contracts formation, it moves into contracts performance. We'll go over here and you can click on modules, or the student can click on modules. Okay, and then they can jump. Let's say that they're not doing formation this week. Let's say that they're doing intentional torts. So they can just come down here to intentional torts and find the reading assignment and the lectures and the quiz and all of the good things that they need to find. So they're absolutely allowed to jump around. They don't have to do this in order. If the curriculum is not in the same order as the supplemental course, it shouldn't be that hard to match the topics up. So that is basically it for the supplemental courses. Again, we just encourage the students to learn the material in class, learn their cases, have all that fun class time, and then come to the supplemental courses and make sure that they actually do the study, do the memorization, do the practice, and actually understand and apply what they've learned. So that's what the supplemental study courses are all about.